And I want to welcome everybody to the first session, Introduction to the Program for the Diabetes Prevention Program. So we're going to be using a hybrid model. So most of us here are associated with the Nurse Practitioner Fellowship Program, but there are some participants outside of the Nurse Practitioner Fellowship. So what we'll do is give an overview of the session and work recording. And this overview will, once the recording is done and we will get it back on the website for people to dial in and get at least an overview of the first session. After that, we'll stop the recording and then we'll be more interactive with the participants. Um, but I'm gonna share my screen and go through the introduction. If you are joining us, if you look in the chat box, there's actually a link to the first handout. We'll get that handout put on the website so that you can follow along. There's an important thing in the first handout about setting your weight goal for the program. And I'll walk you through some of the handouts that we have. In particular, the first handout. But I want to welcome you to the program, the Diabetes Prevention Program, for people who are at risk for type 2 diabetes, or people who have type 2 diabetes, people who just want to learn about being healthier. It's a year-long program, and we encourage those who are interested to participate in the year-long version. And that's version where you will attend as many sessions as you can, as well as submit weights to us, not starting today, so you don't have to get a weight today. But by the next session, submitting your starting weight. If you're interested in the long-term program, we're actually going to send out a survey where we get a little bit more information about you for reporting purposes. This information will be de-identified. But again, I want to welcome you to the program. We're going to do the first part by being recorded, and then we'll stop the recording and then be more interactive. So I'm going to share my screen. So the first page of the handout is going to say Participant Guide, Introduction to the Program. And I'll go through this handout, not necessarily word for word, but just highlighting the different sections of the handout. There's a link in the chat box for the handout, and you can go through the chat box if you're on the call right now. And later on, there will actually be the handout, which you will add to the website. And for those who aren't sure about the website, the diabetes prevention website, the address, and I'll put the address in the chat box as well. The first handout, and you'll see information about prediabetes, reiterating the goals of the program. So the overarching goal is to prevent type 2 diabetes for those at high risk. But the sub goals are to lose anywhere from 5 to 7% of your starting weight, to get at least 150 minutes of physical activity a week. In the first 6 months, the goals are to get that started, to get the weight loss. The second 6 months, the goal is to keep the weight off. If you're wanting to lose more weight, to help you toward that goal, and then to continue the 150 minutes of physical activity a week. There's many benefits, and you can go through this on your own to preventing type 2 diabetes. It's more than just the diagnosis. Type 2 diabetes, unfortunately, is a complete lifestyle change for those who have it. And it involves more than just the blood sugar. And there's a lot of complications from type 2 diabetes, including with coronavirus. People with type 2 diabetes are more likely to have severe coronavirus and unfortunately more likely to die from coronavirus. So there's a very relevant and pressing need to prevent diabetes. And if you do have it, to manage it as best you can. Risk factors for type 2 diabetes. So in this first handout, it's going to help walk you through setting your goal. It's really important with any kind of lifestyle change that you make to be really specific in terms of goals. And so the specific weight goal for you to see and compare your progress to Um, this will help you decide. This will help you decide what your weight goal is. So simple math for a person who weighs in today at 200 pounds and they want to lose 5% of their weight. So they're going to lose at least 5%. So they'll set the percent that they want. Many people want to achieve the highest percent. For some people, maybe going to the lowest percent, so anywhere from 5 to 7. That's our goal for you in the program. It's okay to have your own goal for weight loss for the program, but we really, really want to focus on this small amount of weight loss because we know that it's more achievable in the time of the program. And we can do this along the way to help you reach your own weight loss goals. And so you pick whether you want to lose 5%, 6%, or 7%. And then you write down the how many pounds. So that person who weighed 200 pounds today wants to lose 5%, will write in lose at least 10 pounds. And then another way of restating the goal is to say, I also want to reach 190 pounds. So I weigh 200 pounds. I want to lose 5%. That is 10 pounds. And I want to reach 190 pounds by 6-month mark. I may have another goal, but at least starting somewhere. And it gets even simpler with this handout. You can use the last pages of the handout to find your weight highlighted in the light blue color. And if you find your weight, and as you look across this, if you look at the top in the darker blue color, so they have what 5% weight loss would be in pounds, 6% and 7%. So you can see that someone who weighs in at 300 pounds today and they want to lose 7%, they'll simply have that number right in front of their fingertips. So they will want to lose 21 pounds. They want to get down to 279 pounds. And so really important is to, the first thing is to set your first goal. And this is what the first handout. So some people, it may be helpful to print these handouts, print out these handouts and collect a binder and find ways to record your progress. I'm going to show you some more of these slides, and we'll get into these a little later in terms of the programs, just to show you, just resizing my screen. So each week for those participants who are interested, we ask them to use the action plan journal. And this is where you can really, really get more specific on your goals. So the overall goal of losing 5, 6, 7% of your weight, what you do is use this action plan journal to make your goals, to formulate your goals in a way that make you more likely to be successful. And the research on goal setting says that those goals that are realistic, so losing 200 pounds in 1 week is not realistic. Losing 200 pounds over an extended period of time is more realistic, but really making the goals realistic, that's something that's achievable, making it doable. So again, small changes add up. You want to be really specific. So on your way to losing so the weight is a larger goal. This action plan journal is to help you set smaller goals that can help you get to the point at which you're able to reach that larger goal. And so you may have a nutrition goal specifically, as simple as I want to eat less potato chips. And again, you be specific with what you want to do. I want to eat less than 1 serving of potato chips per week, or I want to eat less than 1 bag of potato chips per week. I'm going to do it both at home and at work. I'm going to do it throughout the times. I'm going to do it for a month. And so eating less potato chips, where I'm going to do it, when I'm going to do it, and how long I'll do it. Being flexible with your goals, life happens. And so um, being able to be flexible is important as you are or as you are making goals and adjusting those goals according to life. If there's a really, really stressful period in life, and those are unfortunately very common, um, your goal may not be to, you may not be able to set a goal of exercising 2 hours a day in the gym for the next month. That may not be achievable with everything else. And again, focusing on behaviors. And so not necessarily focusing on pounds. So instead of saying I want to lose 5 pounds, focusing on behaviors that can help you achieve that goal. So we know there's the nutrition component, there's exercise component, there's sleep, there's stress management. So focusing on those components, I want to set a period of time every day where I want to meditate. I want to take 5 minutes per day for myself. Eventually, I'm going to add exercise in that time, but I want to at least take 5 minutes and get used to having dedicated time for myself. And again, focusing on those behaviors, and that may be beneficial in terms of stress management. And then the last thing in terms of setting goals is make it enjoyable. So, um, how you structure your goals can affect how successful you are. Um, there's research out that people who set out to not do something compared to people who set out to do something. So if my goal was to not eat, my goal was to not drink sodas, it may be harder than if my goal was to drink a similar amount of water. So instead of saying I don't want to drink soda during the day, a goal could be I want to drink 3 bottles of water per day and have that replace my soda. And again, it's a different focus. You're not focused on deprivation. You're focused on adding an activity. Again, making it enjoyable. I want to eat healthy food that I enjoy. I want to find healthy alternatives to the things that I enjoy. Um, those are goals that you're more likely to do. And as you go through the action plan journal, and this week we're not asking you to do anything in the action plan journal. We want you to use this as you set your goal for after the next session, where you're being really specific. What do I want to do? Where do I envision? Some people doing certain things at work versus doing things at home. For some people, what they want to tackle involves work-related behaviors. I don't want to go to the vending machines at work, or I'd like to bring a snack alternative so that I can consume it at work and not use the vending machine. And you will have access to the action plan journals. So if you go back to the website, the action plan journal is here. And you can click that and print it out as many times as you want. The fitness log is where after the next few sessions, we'll ask you to submit your total minutes of exercise. For some people who want a more detailed approach, the fitness log is helpful. What we would simply ask is that you just email us the total amount of minutes that you spent exercising at a moderate to vigorous pace. Food log, for those who want to track calories, it's not mandatory it's not mandatory, but it can be helpful. Again, it can be a goal to just track. I'm not going to eat differently. I'm just going to track what I eat. I think this is really important as far as the weight log to kind of to see how your weight changes over time, and this can help you plot your weight changes. This is something that you can keep for yourself. We ask that when you email us your weight, before each session, as well as your physical activity. Just a reminder, the classes are Tuesdays at 5. And so we're scheduled for Tuesdays all the way up, every Tuesday all the way up till we get to April 27th. So the first 4 months are intense in the program, so that we'll have weekly sessions up until that time where we're able to deliver the different lessons. And if you want to preview the lessons, so we don't have the introduction handout here, but we will. You'll be able to go to the same site that you go to log in, and you'll be able to pull up the handout. So this is you'll be able to pull up the handout. And what we'll do is we're going to, don't pull it up just yet, because we're going to switch some of the handouts around, but you'll be able to access the handouts. One thing I didn't do was introduce myself. So my name is Vernon Rayford. I'm an internal medicine and pediatrics physician working in primary care. I work with the Nurse Practitioner Fellowship to deliver this program, and many of the fellows are on the call as well, who are nurse practitioners who are fully trained, but are taking part in additional training as part of the fellowship. So we will deliver the program. And so our email address, I'm going to put the email address in the chat box, is diabetesprevention@nmhs.net. That's where you can email us with questions. You can email us with your weights, your exercises. Email us to let us know whether or not you're interested in participating in the long-term part of the program where we're working together and following each other over time until December.